come down, grab a mic.
Good morning. So we are doing a two-part, we are doing a two-part children's sermon because I absolutely couldn't decide which one to do. So I'm just going to do both of my ideas. First, and my idea was, oh, I can't do both because I'll take too long. And then I thought, you're the most important people in the church, so we can take all the time we want. So, my first idea is about fasting. Pastor Joy's going to talk about fasting. But fasting is kind of a really hard concept for us. So we're going to talk about what the Bible passage said about fasting. And when I was reading it, it made me think of offering, giving the offering. And how that fasting or our offering, what we feel like we can give to God each week, is really kind of a very personal, private thing. So when we pass the offering plates around, when someone puts something in there, they don't stand up and say, I'm putting $5 in, and then it goes a little further and they say, I'm putting $10 in, and it goes a little further and that person says, well, I'm putting $100 in. We don't do that, do we? Well, people aren't like jumping up and down and yelling what they're putting in the offering plate, because that really is something right just between them and God. And jumping up and down. And so there are certain things that just need to stay in your heart and in between you and God. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is, does anyone know what's going on this afternoon? What?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. So Super Bowl. This is how bad this is. I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl. Do you know? No. So,
Do you know? The Falcons and the New England.
Oh, that's right. I do remember Falcons because there was like some joke about all these Falcons on an airplane. That's right. I do remember that. But so some big teams are playing. And to a lot of the world, that is a big deal about which team are you on, which team are you cheering for, what kind of jersey are you going to wear. So yesterday, we were at a Cornell basketball game cheering for our Cornell Rams. We were at Michael's basketball game cheering for our Mount Vernon boys. We were at Alex's little basketball game scrimmage. And when it gets down to Alex's, so this is Alex and he's second grade, when it gets down to that age, Matt Siders, I wondered if he was here, but he pulls all the kids together and then he has like colored t-shirts. And the kids get really excited because they want to know, can you open that up please, whose team they get to be on. And so Matt always has these cool t-shirts. And sometimes he gives you a maroon t-shirt, sometimes he gives you a blue t-shirt, sometimes he gives you a red t-shirt, sometimes he gives you a gray t-shirt, and then you look around and you want to know who has the same color t-shirt that I have, who is going to be on my team. And I thought, well, how cool would it be if no matter what t-shirt we had, can you guys open those up and turn them around so people, so open it up really big, honey, and show them the back. What? Yeah, the back. It has some numbers. Show the people out there. Whose team?
God's team.
So what if no matter what t-shirt we got, it always said we were on God's team? And even if it was like an Iowa State and an Iowa t-shirt, what if it said we're all on God's team and we can't lose? There's no way we can lose. I didn't break your t-shirts. There's no way we can lose if we are on God's team. There's so many winning things about that. So I want you to think about that the next time you get put on a team. Even if they're not wearing the same color jersey, we can all be part of one great big team. All right, I'm going to pray with you guys. Heavenly Father, thank you for these beautiful children. And thank you for bringing them in this house this morning. It is full of so much love for them. and let them know that they are on your team, and we will support them all the way through. In your name we pray. Amen.
Well, thank you, Leanne. As always, lovely. So our scripture today is from Matthew 6, verses 16 to 18. And it says this: "And whenever you fast, do not look dismal like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces so as to show others that they are fasting. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that your fasting may be seen not by others, but by your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you." This is the word of God for the people of God. And all God's people said, Amen. So I wonder if you have ever given something up that was good and important for something much greater. That's the question I leave you today. What have you given something up for something that's even greater, even more important? So we're in the middle of this, well, we're actually at the end of this series about feeding our hungry souls. And Pastor Mark started us out by talking about the Sabbath. You see, we have this God that loves us so much that God wants personal relationship with us. God wants us to come to Him as He comes to us. And so Pastor Mark talked about Sabbath and the importance of setting aside time for God, setting aside a day. And then we talked about worship and the importance of this gathering, of praising God together. And we've talked about the Word and the Scripture and how important it is to be in the Word and how it transforms us. And prayer is the same. And so now we come together and we talk about fasting. Most people, when they hear fasting, they go, "Oh no, this is not what I want to talk about. This is not what I want to hear about. What are you going to say to me today?" Fasting is an important discipline, but one that is not actually a commandment. There's nowhere that it says exactly, you must fast, right? But Jesus says in His scripture, this was Jesus speaking, and He said, when you fast. Jesus didn't say if you fast, Jesus said when you fast, expecting that the crowd He was talking to would be fasting. Well, He was talking to Jews, and Jews fasted at least once a year. And that was on the day where they repented of their sins. It was the Day of Atonement where they really said, okay, God, just recognizing their sinfulness, recognizing who they were and who God was in the midst of that. When you fast. But there were religious people, really, that wanted to look religious, wanted to look like the best, and so they would do things physically to make themselves appear that they were fasting. So Jesus says, it was great what Leanne said. It was perfect, right? It's not something that God wants us to go around saying, hey, I'm fasting today. Are you fasting today? No. Jesus says this is a personal thing. To fast. So what is it? What is this whole concept of fasting? I started with asking, have you ever given something up for something greater? Fasting or feasting. We all need food. We know that we need food. We know that God created us to eat and to drink, and that is what nourishes our bodies. But often in our culture, we think that we need food more than we really do. I do. I like food a lot. And if I don't eat, I'm not a very good breakfast eater, but if I don't eat a hearty lunch and a hearty dinner, something just doesn't feel quite right. I like my food. I don't know about you. But so often it's easy to eat when we're bored or when we're excited or when we're sad or what else, right? But do we need food as often as we think? Is it okay to go a meal without food or 2 meals without food and replace that time in prayer, in devotion to God? I believe that it is. John Wesley thought it was so important that he fasted twice a week. Every Wednesday and every Friday, John Wesley fasted. And he actually wouldn't ordain a preacher unless they would also fast every Wednesday and every Friday. That rule no longer exists, but it was very true at the time. But his fast was something that I think is very manageable. He would eat on Tuesday night, he'd eat supper. And then on Wednesday morning, he would wake up and he wouldn't eat breakfast and he wouldn't eat lunch. But there was this really important time in England called tea time at 2 o'clock. And he'd break his fast with tea. So he was skipping 2 meals to go on to the next. And he did this twice a week. When we fast, when we lay something aside, the idea is that we will fill that space with something greater. We'll fill it with the Word of God. We'll fill it with prayer. We'll fill it with time with the Lord. Our Lord loves us and wants us to draw close to Him. You know, we're all on a journey, right? We're all on this journey, and so we never arrive. Something we talked about in our church council retreat yesterday is that we don't arrive. We're constantly working towards this thing called perfection. We're constantly drawing closer to Christ. And it's a journey. We're all learning. Fasting is something that seasons of my life have been important to me and I've done really well at. And currently, I'm not in one of those seasons where it's really easy for me. It's really difficult to fast, but I think it's really important. So during Lent this year, it's coming up March 1st, and I'm going to encourage anyone that wants to join me in a fast of once a week. Pick your day. And I share that not to tout, but to say, let's hold each other accountable. Let's spend some time together in email or prayer or encouraging one another. So if anyone wants to join me in fasting one day a week, the way John Wesley did, just skipping breakfast, skipping lunch, having something at 2 o'clock if you need a snack, let me know, because I think it's an important discipline. So this thing, I call it a discipline because it's not easy, right? It's something we have to make ourselves do. It's also a means of grace. John Wesley talked about all these things that we've been talking about as means of grace. They're ways that God fills our spirits and God fills our souls. There are some other Old Testament biblical examples, and one of the ones that most people have heard of, but I'm still going to tell the story because I think it's important, is Queen Esther. Do you know the story of Queen Esther? So she was chosen as queen to be one of the harem of the king, and she was a Jew. And this decree was sent out to kill all of the Jews. Women, children, men, it didn't matter. They were all to be killed. But she was in the palace, she was in the courts, and they asked, somebody told her what was going on. They put on sackcloth and ashes in the streets, and everybody started fasting and praying for their lives. Like they were praying that God would save their lives. And it was not okay. Like, she could be killed for going to the king and making her own request. She had a request to make that this decree would end, that it would cease. But in order to make that request, she agreed to fast and pray for 3 days straight. It was something, because fasting is one step further than prayer. It's one step closer to God, and it can break spiritual ties. It can break evil that's happening. Something powerful in the spiritual realm happens when we fast. And so she gathered people together to fast. Mordecai spread the word in the town, and Esther fasted for 3 days and 3 nights. And then she appeared to the king and said, wanted to have a word with him. Well, you never went to the king without him coming to you first. Like, that was a risk of her life that she was taking. But she went to the king and he said, what do you want? Whatever you want, I'll do for you. And she said, join me for a feast. Join me for a feast. And so he joined her for the feast. And then he said, at the feast, they're dining and he's merry and happy and all is well. And he says, what is it that you want? And she says, join me for a feast tomorrow. I'll prepare another feast for you tomorrow. And so they dine together, and she requests that he does not kill the Jews. She tells him that she is a Jew and that all would stop. It works. It works. The whole thing is cut off. It doesn't happen. None of the Jews are killed. He sends out messages throughout all the land to make sure that this does not happen. She has come together with other people to fast and to pray and to plead to God that something would change, something would happen. And it does. So I just want to encourage you in this time, if there is something that is laying on your heart very heavy, fasting and praying is one powerful movement we can make in the Spirit. God is listening. God cares for you. God loves you. God loves each person in our midst. And that is why God offers all of these spiritual means of grace, these ways that we can draw closer to God. It's not about doing it right. It's not about doing it perfect. It's just about seeking Christ in all that we do. And as we fast, we find that instead, perhaps we're feasting. Perhaps we found something all the better as we feast on the Word of God, as we draw closer in relationship with Christ, as we see what can happen in the world. When we let go of the things that we think we need, we feel a hunger pang and we ignore it. Instead, we pray to God and say, all right, Lord, this is yours. Maybe a hunger pang is a reminder to pray for whatever it is that you have compassion for, that draws you to Him. So that's my encouragement. And as we draw closer today to the table, we're going to shift over to the table of communion soon. I want you to consider the great sacrifice that Christ has made for you and I. The way that God loves you and I so deeply in this entire world. That He came to this world to live. He lived as we did. He didn't take up the powers of God so often. He experienced the pain. And we can now rejoice because God rejoiced with us in human flesh. And we can rejoice with Him. So as we come to the table today, I just want to encourage you to rejoice in the Lord for all that He has done for you and me. Would you pray with me? Almighty God, we thank you for the gifts you have given us. We thank you for the pathways you've given us to come closer to you. We thank you for the way that you love us and you love our world. And God, we invite you here in each of our lives, and we ask that you continue to teach us how to draw closer to you. What is it that you want from each of us, one step of the way? Lord, we lay our lives down before you in gratitude and praise and in thanksgiving. In Jesus' name, amen. It's great to be free. So go, friends, go in the peace of God. Go feasting on the Word, knowing that the Lord loves you so much that God has created avenues for us to come closer to the Lord and to share our requests. Go in peace, in the love of God, in the peace of God, in the hope and joy that is yours. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.